Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the world of economics. I am Mo Sharkar, economics teacher. Today, we are going to learn about GDP, GNP, and NFIA. Okay, now we proceed. Students, you know what is GDP and what is GNP? We discussed about it, GDP and GNP in previous video. So here we discuss about the difference between these two. Okay. Now, GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. Here, and GNP stands for Gross National Product. It is very easy. Now, the definition of GDP. This is the sum of value added together by all the producers in the domestic territory of a country during a year. Clear? When we consider the GDP, we also consider the domestic territory. But when we consider the GNP, we consider the residents of India, not only domestic territory. This may be outside the domestic territory if we consider the GNP. Now, the definition of GNP. This is the sum of value added together by the normal residents of a country, whether within the domestic territory or outside the domestic territory. Here the key point is normal resident if we consider GNP. And if we consider the GDP, the key point is domestic territory. Clear? Now, the concept. If we differentiate between these two by their concept, GDP is territorial concept and GNP is economic concept, because here if you consider the GNP, we consider only the normal resident of that country. Now, the formula. If you want to find out the GDP, what we will do? GDP equal to GNP minus NFIA. Now is the question, what is NFIA? NFIA equal to net factor income from abroad. Now, if you want to find out the GNP, GNP equal to GDP plus NFIA. Now the same question, what is NFIA? NFIA equal to net factor income from abroad. Clear, student? Now, here are some questions and their answers. Now, here we see the three pictures. The first picture is Coca-Cola. Students, do you know Coca-Cola is an Indian company or a foreign company? Yes, Coca-Cola is not an Indian company. Coca-Cola is foreign company. This is the company from USA. Now, my question is, profit earned by Coca-Cola Company of USA from its branch in India. Profit earned by Coca-Cola Company of USA from its branch in India. We know the USA company Coca-Cola also have lot of branch in India. So whether the profit of the branch of Indian branch of Coca-Cola is, we should add it in GDP or GNP. So Indian branches of Coca-Cola are within the domestic territory of India. So the profit of Coca-Cola Indian branch, Coca-Cola company's profit, we should add it in GDP. Clear? But not in GNP, because Coca-Cola is not a resident of India. Now we consider the Tata Consultancy Service. We know Tata Consultancy Services is Indian company. TCS is Indian company. But TCS is MNC company, multinational company. So TCS have the branches outside of India also. So my question is, profit earned by TCS Software Company of India from its office in UK, whether we should add it in GDP or GNP. TCS is Indian resident, but the branch in UK is not within the domestic territory of India. So we cannot add it in GDP, but we can add it in GNP. This is the factory income from abroad. Now the third question is Germans. This is the third picture. See the third picture. This is the picture of a Germany. The question is salaries paid to German working in Indian embassy in Germany. As we all know, Indian embassy is the part of our domestic territory. So we should add it in GDP. But the Germany who working in Indian embassy in Germany is not a Indian resident. Is not a Indian resident. So we cannot add it in GNP. We can add it in GDP. So this is the part of GDP, but not the part of GNP. Clear, students? Now, here is some questions and their answer. We have written the questions and we have written the answers also. Students, see it carefully how to write the answers of this type of questions. And these questions are called the analytical questions. Clear? Students, these questions all are analytical questions. But the question number 2 is HOT also. Clear, student? So write all these question answer in your copy. If you have any problem, you can call me. My name is Mom Charkar and my phone number is 890-2195-104. Clear? See the questions carefully and write all the questions answer in your copy. We discussed all of these previously. Use your mind and write the answer. Net factory income from abroad. Net factory income from abroad is the difference between the income earned from abroad for rendering factor services by the normal resident of the country and the income paid for the factor services rendered by non-resident in the domestic territory of a country. So net factory income from abroad equal to factory income from abroad minus factory income to abroad. Now we consider factory income from abroad. Here the three things we are seeing, which is the outside of Indian territory in the rest of the world. The first one is Reliance Industries. Second one is State Bank of India. Third one is Subhash, who is the Indian resident but working in outside of India. The salary of Subhash is factory income from abroad. The profit of SBI, rent, interest and dividends of SBI, the branches of SBI which is outside of Indian territory of India is the factory income from abroad. And the Reliance Industries, which is the resident of India, but the branch of Reliance Industry which is outside of Indian territory of India, the income of Reliance Industries is the factory income from abroad. So these three are the factory income from abroad. Now factory income to abroad. Factory income to abroad, here also we have seen the three examples. First one is Mr. Cleven. Mr. Cleven is the USA resident. Okay, but working in India within the Indian domestic territory. So his salary is the factory income of USA, not the factory income of India. This is factory income from abroad. So this is factory income to abroad. Now second one, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a USA company. This is not Indian company, but the Coca-Cola branch income is the factory income to abroad. Clear? Coca-Cola branch within the Indian domestic territory income is the factory income to abroad. This income goes to USA. This is not the India's national income. Clear? Now the factory income of Bank of America. The factory income of Bank of America is the income of America, not the income of India. So these three are the example of factory income to abroad, and previous three are the example of factory income from abroad. When we find out the net factory income from abroad, we subtract these two, factory income from abroad minus factory income to abroad, and we can get the number. Which number we can get? That is the factory income from net factory income from abroad. Now here we explain about the net export and NFIA. If you consider the net export, what we will do? We differentiate between export minus import of goods and services. But we cannot consider the factory income when we consider the net export. Okay, but when we consider the NFIA, net factory income from abroad, we consider the factory income, not goods and services. We consider the factory income. So here is the meaning. Net export refers to the difference between exports and imports of goods and services. But NFIA refers to the difference between factory income received from abroad and factory income paid to abroad. Clear? Net export is a domestic concept, but net factory income from abroad, it is a national concept. Clear? Net export includes non-factor services. Non-factor services. Here we cannot consider the factor services. Here we consider goods and services, but that is not a factor services. But NFIA includes factor services. This is the difference between net export and NFIA. In GDP, we calculate net export, but in GNP, we calculate NFIA. Now answer all these questions. You know the full form of NFIA, net factor income from abroad. Define NFIA. Now also calculate the maths also. If the GDP FC is rupees 5,000 crore and net factor income from abroad is rupees 120 crore, calculate GNP FC. Now we know GNPFC equal to GDPFC plus NFIA. GDPFC is 5,000 and NFIA is 120 crore. So if we add these two, we can find out the GNPFC. Now the second question, if GDP-MP is rupees 9,000 crores and factory income to abroad is rupees 150 crore, factory income from abroad is rupees 500 crores, calculate the value of GNP-MP. So previously we have seen the GNP-MP equal to GDP-MP plus NFIA. GDP-MP is given, which is 9,000, but we do not know the value of NFIA. So we have to find out first the value of NFIA. We know NFIA equal to factory income from abroad minus factory income to abroad. Here the factory income from abroad is given. The factory income from abroad is 500 crore and factory income to abroad is 150 crore. If we subtract these two, we can find out the net factory income from abroad. So now we know the net factory income from abroad and GDP we know 9,000 plus the net factory income from abroad, we can find out the GNP-MP. Clear, student? Now the differentiate between these two, net export and NFIA. Now the first question is remembering. Second question also is remembering. Third question is applying. Fourth question is applying. And fifth question is analytical question. Clear, students? Now, bye. Thank you. See you next day.